completes the AstraZeneca hat trick challenge as we welcome in Dave Reed to the show. And Reader, we know the goals for Heidi have been harder to come by this season than the record pace we saw a year ago. But 6 points now in his last 2 games. What have you liked?
Well, I'm seeing the Carter for Heidi for the Florida Panthers, and it's nice to see him get back on the board.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of that chemistry, 5 players in this one for the Cats with multiple points as they snap the Islanders' win streak.
What's going on, my friends? I'm Gardner, and welcome to this edition of On the Fly. Well, now that the tryptophan has begun to wear off, we can now kick up our slippered feet on the coffee table and take a look at the standings, knowing that Thanksgiving serves as the benchmark for the playoffs. In fact, each of the last 2 seasons, just over 81% of clubs in the postseason spot this time of year found themselves playing hockey in late April. We'll start with 2 Stanley Cup contenders in action on Friday as the Metro leading Canes took on the defending champion Panthers. Hey, listen, I appreciate Wachter trying to plead the fifth there, as it was another rough ending for the Islanders, who are the league's worst team at protecting late leads. New York now had 7 blown lead losses in the 3rd period and has allowed more goals in the final frame than they have in the first 2 periods combined. It's now time to check out the Lightning and the Predators as Steven Stamkos faces off against his former team for the 2nd time this season.
As the pennant chase heats up,
We're coming in hot.
they're going to be definitely in the postseason. The debates are fire.
Do not get mad at me.
Mark my words, LG.
This is the team to beat in the West.
You had your pick.
Off Base, coming up next, only on MLB Network.
Good to be with you on this very busy day in hockey. The trade deadline has come and gone. No shortage of topics for us to talk about, right?
Jason Demers, Erica Wachter with you. Welcome to NHL Tonight. JD, what more can we ask for?
First things first, this is a very complicated deal featuring 3 clubs. How did this all come together?
The Lightning, one of the hottest teams in the NHL right now, winners of 9 of their last 10 and 6 in a row at Amalie Arena.
We have so much news to get to, and you can feel it. It is wild in here.
Alex Ovechkin is just 7 goals away from NHL history. So here's what to watch for in Ovi's next 5 games.
I am Gritty's #1 fan, Catherine Tappan.
That's
Happy to be
true
with
story.
you.
True story.
True story.
Remember, if I would have told you at the beginning of the season that these 2 teams would be fighting for their playoff lives in this outdoor game, what would you have said?
They have to not only get the points, but leapfrog 8 other teams that are not just going to falter and lose every game from here on out.
Tuesday's matchup, it was primed to be a showdown between 2 of the league's hottest teams right now with pivotal points on the line.
I feel like it was yesterday. We made it feel like it just happened now. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow.
Fresh off the Tokyo series, Major League Baseball has launched a new anime-inspired campaign called Heroes of the Game. And it makes perfect sense as we take a look at Paul Skeens here. Baseball is stacked with more generational talent than ever before. So to celebrate the launch, we're here in Manhattan outside the MLB flagship store on opening day with 9 life-size baseball cards. They'll be out here throughout the entirety of the campaign, so you can come visit them anytime you're in town. And if you take a look at anime, it's an ever-growing industry, of course, over $31 billion in revenue. Kind of hard to wrap your brain around, right? Well, we're trying to appeal more to the young fans. Well, check this out. Over 50% of young viewers in the U.S. prefer to watch anime videos. I know I'm one of them. Yes, I'm calling myself young, so we're gonna go ahead and err on that side. But I personally cannot wait for the release of all these anime videos to launch throughout the course of this season. But while we wait, Jose, do you want to take a selfie? These are so cool. You have to come visit them.
Happy Tuesday, my friends, and welcome to this edition of NHL Now, presented by NHL Sense Arena. It's your girl, LG Red, LG Graffiti.
I like that.
Thank you.
Is
this
spray
fun?
painted you up in the back alleyway.
I know. Well, you know, stranger things have happened. I grew up prime oil.
Fumes, though. That's not good careful.
No, that's true. Well, we'll make sure we wear the mask and everything. We were talking about this in the makeup room, Boiler. You made these shoes? You designed them? You know I'm always going to bring up
distinction there. Yes, I designed them.
You didn't sew them yourself?
Yeah, no, I did not. These are my shoes. You can't. I don't think you can get that close, but I got the initials of my wife and all my kids on the top.
That's cool.
How cool is that?
Springy.
I like this. I have absolutely nothing unique about my outfit.
You get spray paint and personalized shoes, and I'm just
I didn't mean
here
to
for the
gloss
ride.
over you, but
Yeah, it's all
I
right.
was just like, Rupper, you look good though. This is a
Thanks.
clean look.
Little dirt. I got extra dirty bottoms of my shoes. That's this new style. I think. I don't know.
Fun fact about our crew is like a lot of people have like their studio shoes, and we wear these out on the streets.
Heck
So
yeah.
You're gonna see a little bit dirt on
We
them.
keep it real here in NHL now, and that's why we got to get into the playoffs because we're going to keep it real for the next 2 months.
And women of the people, it's gonna get real, especially since this is your first postseason show here on NHL Meow. So let's take a look at some of the scores from Monday. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Before we get to that, though, big news on the island today, guys.
That was impressive.
Yeah, it was.
Sometimes it takes a game, especially when they've been out
Settle
that
in.
long, and there's young players sort of getting their feet wet with playoff hockey and what it's all about. And they really did. They made it a game. They put a little fear into Washington, I think.
Youngest NHL team in the postseason right now, Montreal.
Right.
We'll get to the Marty St. Louis sound in just a minute, but he thinks they're good now. It's like, okay, now we got all the butterflies out, and now we can lead with our best. We're going to begin in the nation's capital, where Ovi showed zero signs, guys.
You saw it at a very high level. You need just give me good goaltending, give me a good penalty kill, give me depth scoring, whatever that third thing is, you're going to win. And in a game like mentioned after, it's just like they're going to have to eventually get some depth scoring.
Yeah.
They're going to have like that. He does it all the time.
Full speed. Had no issue with what was going to happen to him.
Zero
That's their captain. I am acting captain of this team right now. I'm going right through you, and that
got me out of my seat.
That's game 2 of the first round. That's also game 72 of the regular season.
It's leadership.
Nathan McKinnon plays like that game in and game out.
You can't strip him from that.
You're right. Because I was asking the production meeting, I'm like, are you worried about his physicality?
If he was dropping the gloves, like that's what we were talking about. Like then I'd be like, hey, but let's refrain from that. But like, no, this is what makes Nathan McKinnon. He's relentless. He's going to play the game the only way he knows how, and that is like, I don't even know how. It looks like his skates are going to go right through the ice.
NHL Now, presented by NHL Sense Arena. It's your girl, LG Ren, Lauren Gardner, Mike Rupp, Brian Boyle. Fellas, have left to go.
Just
marathon.
Hey, and we have
like
a
the
game.
playoffs.
We have a game starting already.
That is awesome. They are underway currently in Raleigh for game 2 between the Devils and the Canes. Should be a good one to see if the Canes can go up 2-0 or if the Devils can battle back and come up with a different game plan, as you so eloquently illustrated on the tape there earlier. Guys, you want to get caught up on the news of the day?
Let's do it.
All
Yes.
right, let's get to our nation.
So
Love watching him out there.
Uphill battle is a good way to put it, Robert.
Okay, so I mean, you know what happens when you assume, but I'm just going to assume. Hypothetically speaking, if Vegas does get out of round 1, how far, Rupper, in your mind will they go? We saw your bracket posted on social, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I've got them winning. I got them winning the cup. I think there's going to be, if we're making predictions, there's going to be a collision course with Colorado, and I don't know which way that's going to go. I hedged that, and I said I think it'll be Vegas.
Thank you.
You know what though?
You.
You know what though? If I'm being honest. Regular season doesn't matter.
Congrats on your President's Trophy.
Let's see if you bring in the postseason.
Guys, the curse doesn't apply here.
I don't know. We'll see.
Chasing 8
We'll see.
minutes.
Okay, I am trying. I really want this. It was a great comeback, right? We lost 12 in a row, and then we shot the moon.
It was a great comeback. It was good.
We won on the last
That was
day.
my first win since December 20th, 2024.
You're off to a good start. You're up 1-0 in the series. Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's go ahead and start with our picks for tonight. I'm going with John Tavares and Jake Gensel, anytime goals.
Ooh.
At a plus
698,
guys. Tavares 12 goals last 15 games, and Jake Gensel is a beast in the postseason, as we know. Yeah, I think 8th most goals per game in NHL playoff history. Is that good?
That's
just under 70 games.
Decent. That's decent.
So
I like that. That's a
too.
great pick, actually.
Thank you.
Okay.
I feel good about that.
I have Brady.
As we welcome you inside of our Apple TV Plus studios, I'm Lauren Gardner alongside former big leaguer Xavier Scruggs and MLB insider for Yahoo Sports, Russell Dorsey. And oftentimes we use electric in the sport of baseball, but when it comes to Ellie De La Cruz,
we mean it.
Yeah, he's different. And I like to think about elevation, right? Elevating his game year after year after year. The exit velos continue to go up from a hitting standpoint, but he does everything on the field, impacts in so many different ways. I think about find yourself along those same names. It tells you how important you are to your team, but also how important you are to Major League Baseball. And he, having a conversation with him, he understands he can be a face of baseball. He's a guy that's so dynamic. You already had the 2-homer game this year. Ellie's dynamic. And now he's starting to figure out just how dynamic he can be.
Yeah, he's quickly becoming one of the faces and the biggest stars in all of Major League Baseball. You want to talk about a big star, right? We have the youth in the dugout. Now we brought in the seasoned veteran. Somehow the Reds talked him into coming out of retirement, and we're talking Terry Francona, who's now stepping in as their skipper.
LG, you're not calling Tito for a team that's rebuilding. You're calling a team for you. That's why you call Tito, and I expect this team to be right in the thick of things in the NL Central. I like how you bring up the wins and the postseason experience, because as a player on the field.
At the end of the day, that trust and the buy-in is so important, because what is a manager really but a CEO, and that's what Terry. He's won both of his starts so far with Cincinnati. Time now to welcome in our good friend Heidi Watney, live from Great American Ballpark, a very chilly Great American Ballpark as she's bundled up. The Reds' big splash, Heidi, in the offseason was bringing in Terry Francona as manager, as we just mentioned. It's still early, but what's his impact been on the club so far?
Well, it's very similar to what Russ and X were just saying. I mean, Terry Francona said himself he wasn't going to come out of retirement if he didn't think the Reds could win games. And the players I've talked to have all said that he brings that grind from running the bases, not making the little mistakes. And Tito said, look, it's early, but they're listening. And he's said they've had a lot of one-run games. Those mistakes that they're making, they're fixing right now. And President Nick Krall said the collaboration has been a lot of fun for him with Terry Francona. He brings experience and he brings, a knowledge of the game that's different. And so they've had a lot of talks and collaboration about how they want to do things, even with the entire organization going forward. It's a great fit for this club with a lot of young players. And, all the players I talk to are so happy that he's here, LG.
Heidi, I love that. Terry Francona, baseball's dad. The Giants on the other side drafted catcher Joey Bart 2nd overall in that 2018 draft, but traded him to the Pirates just over a year ago. His numbers have been much better since landing in Pittsburgh, though. What are the Pirates saying about him, Heidi?
Well, Derek Shelton told me that they had noticed before spring training last year that Joey Bart had made a swing change, and that really clicked for him last spring training, and it's worked out well for him. He also, the change of scenery can help a guy, not having the pressure of being the number 2 overall pick and the heir apparent to Buster Posey, that can help take that pressure off a guy. Bart said he loves it here, but he does still lean on Buster Posey for some information when he needs it, although he said now that he's president, he doesn't feel as comfortable calling him and getting advice. Buster Posey a little busy running the Giants right now, LG.
Pretty decent mentor there, Buster Posey. Heidi, thank you so much. We'll check back in with you in just a second. Let's go ahead, fellas.
Understand, too, what their importance is and what their role is going forward. So when you have someone like that, Andrew McCutchen being in the same type of role, right? That's how organizations continue to grow. That's how you continue to get better as a total team.
Yeah, Fam knows how to win, and of course he's universally respected, as you, as one of his former teammates, respects him immensely. Here's a look here at the Reds lineup. Of course, we have Elliott,
Series champion with the Los Angeles Dodgers, so he's going to bring that postseason experience. He was in an organization where winning was required.
Everything he went through with the injury and, just the roller coaster in LA, how can you not root for a guy like Gavin Lux? So, of course, it's a new look for the Cincinnati Reds here in 2025. Heidi is joined by their star, Ellie De La Cruz.
Ellie, new manager, Terry Francona. Tito's coming in. New culture in the clubhouse. What's it been like with him, and what's been the biggest surprise?
It's been good. We've been more together, and he knows how to leadership. He got a leadership, and I feel good with him. He's a big one on the game.
Gavin Lux told me he brings a lot of confidence and conviction behind what he says. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, a lot of confidence and good vibes. A lot of good vibes.
A lot of good vibes. Cover of MLB The Show with Gunnar Henderson and Paul Skeens. How glad are you that you don't have to face Paul Skeens this weekend?
Hey, no, I want to face him. I want to face him. I want to face the best pitchers on the game. So he's one of those, and I want to face him. I'm sad because I don't gonna get the chance to face him this series, but we will face each other later in the season.
You don't want to face Paul Skeens when it's 30 degrees out. Let me tell you that. What was that experience like, though, being on the cover?
Good. I feel pretty good and so excited and grateful to share the cover with those guys, those superstars.
Your offensive stats have all gone up this year. Hard hit rate, barrels, exit velocity. What did you work on this offseason to improve?
I work a lot on offense, defense, and my body, how to be healthy. And when I'm healthy, I can do all those things.
What do you work on specifically to stay healthy?
I have a personal trainer. We work in the gym and a lot of agility stuff and recovery a lot.
Everyone says watching you, your teammates, Tito said you're special with the skills that you have. What's your biggest goal for this season?
My biggest goal for the season is stay healthy the whole season. Like play the 162 game. That's my only goal.
162, that's pretty darn good.
That's what I want. I want to stay healthy to be able to play every day.
What do you think this team, you think it's a playoff team?
Yes, absolutely.
Why?
Because we together, we play together. We have Tito, he knows how to do it. He been there before, and we have a couple guys that helping us. They've been there before, and we're gonna do it. We're gonna make it.
Awesome, thank you, Ellie.
Thank you.
Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
Wow, wonderful interview there from the guy in the 3 spot, the star for the Cincinnati Reds. How about this? The kids don't mind the cold. They just want to see Ellie De La Cruz. It's time to take a look at some of the most interesting stories from around the league on Apple News. Career. Now, Russ, you wrote about this in Yahoo Sports. What do you think is most significant about this contract, and who in your mind does this impact the most?
It impacts Vladdy the most. When somebody breaks you out $500 million, you're doing pretty well. But it's really cool that a homegrown superstar like Vladdy can stay with a team that signed him at 16 years old, where he's one of the top prospects in the game. With the name Vladimir GuerreroJr, you gotta produce, and that's exactly what he's been able to do since he got to the big leagues in 2018. And you look at it now for the future of the Toronto Blue Jays. Now you have Vladdy locked up, and you look at where he is, all-time largest contract in the history of Major League Baseball, a $325 million signing bonus, by the way. That is incredible. Also, no state income tax where Vladdy lives in Florida.
Brilliant.
Pretty good. Pretty good. But I think they have a lot of money coming off the books in 2027. George Springer, Kevin Gausman, Chris Bassett at the end of this season will come off the books. So now you can kind of reshape your roster as you try to build around Vlad Jr.
Well, there was so much uncertainty, as you mentioned, and now I think there's a commitment.
Contract paving the way for the upcoming free agents. I talked to Ross Atkins, the GM of the Blue Jays, prior to spring training about this. Both sides really wanted to get this done. Now they have it behind them, and they can move forward and push for a postseason.
And he's Canadian.
It all makes sense. Break out the poutine and, of course, the Tim Hortons. To get more news and highlights from around Major League Baseball, follow your team in the Apple News app. Well, of course, we can't get enough Ellie De La Cruz, and it's a good thing because X is going to break him down after the break. It was a breakout year for Ellie De La Cruz, but X says he's already making adjustments in 2025. Break it down for us.
You know I'm looking for more. I love seeing adjustments.
Don't you know I'm the one, and I love you, girl. I don't care what they say. You know you are my world. Come back home to the one who loves you more and more. So
Joey, traded here to Pittsburgh a little over a year ago, about April of last year, and offensively you've really taken off. Derek Shelton told me you had made a swing change in spring training of last year, and it just has paid off with these guys. But what's really been the difference for you offensively?
Yeah, I definitely made a swing change. Something that started, I guess, 2 off seasons ago. Just trying to figure out what I was good at and try to do my best.
Well, you come over to Pittsburgh and you catch one of the most electric pitchers in the game. What is it like catching Paul Skeens, and do you have to ice your hand afterwards? Is that how that works?
Paul's legit. I mean, he's very prepared, as advertised, and he's ready to compete. Young he is, and he still has a lot ahead of him.
Okay, I have to ask you, Masters weekend, Georgia boy. On this team, who would have the best shot at winning a green jacket?
We got some golfers around here. I'm not a golfer, so you can take me out of it. I don't know. I've heard Mitch is pretty good. Mitch Keller. Ryan Barucki plays a little bit, I've heard. You know, I'm just a guy that knows nothing about golf. That's from Georgia, so everybody asks me about the Masters. Never been, but obviously a beautiful experience. And yeah, I would say probably Mitch. I don't know. I've heard good things.
All right, not our Masters Insider. That's okay. We'll forgive him. Thanks so much, Joey.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
Thanks a lot, Heidi. I guess get Mitch a green jacket. Well, it's a cold one at Great American Ballpark, but the mascots have to be nice and warm under there, right? That's usually how that works. Let's go ahead and throw it up to the guys on the call. On the game, Wayne Randazzo, Dontrell Willis talking Red starter Brady Singer. Trade this offseason for his former college teammate Jonathan India. This offseason off to a good start so far, X 2-0 in the season. What do you like about his performance so far?
Well, Cincinnati needed depth, right? And you bring a guy in because they had a lot of injuries last year. And Brady Singer has learned a lot over the past few years and how to deal with his arsenal. Well, Weezy and Dontrell were mentioning his cutter-slider combination, and that throws hitters off because it's got good depth to it, especially right-handed hitters have trouble getting to the outside pit.
He got to be around Seth Lugo and Cole Reagans last year in Kansas City. And so you can take some of those things that you learn from guys like that and apply it to yourself now that you don't.
And guys, he's getting the run support. I love this stat. The Reds have plated 25 runs across Singer's first 2 starts of the season. They've scored 23 over their first 11 games all season so far. So they feel pretty confident when he's at the plate. Russ, what's on your radar tonight?
On my radar, for a long time, it was Joey Thump. Look at this homer that he hit in Milwaukee the other night. Hit it off his face on the scoreboard in center field. A lot of power that comes with Christian Encarnacion Strand. That can be a guy that's a force in the middle of that lineup and do it for a long time from the right side of the plate.
I feel like that's a good omen.
Yeah.
Hit it off your face on the scoreboard.
That's the goal, right? Go right back to the middle and drive it all the way. I got an X factor for tonight, and I'm looking at Joey Bart.
Yeah, a huge addition for this club. Guys, we have about 30 seconds left in show. Russ, in your mind, what is this game going to boil down to?
I think the pitching, right? Can Brady Singer continue to pitch the way he has over the last couple of starts because he's been really good? It is a cold day, and usually it's about offense in that ballpark. I don't know about tonight.
No, I would say the same thing. Bailey Falter is important because you look at the other guys in that rotation. Pirates have a great rotation with great young arms. He's a guy that ate up a lot of innings and helped them last year. He can do it much better this year as well.
Looking forward to a pitcher's duel tonight. Enjoy Friday Night Baseball presented by Chevrolet. Baez and the Detroit Tigers. As we welcome you inside of our Apple TV Plus studios, I'm Lauren Gardner alongside former big leaguer Xavier Scruggs and MLB insider for Yahoo Sports, Russell Dorsey. And Russ, this is a Tigers team that made a big splash in 2024, but I think people know what to expect here this season.
Yeah, it's no second half of 2024. Had a great second half, and then they go in and defeat the Houston Astros that have been a fixture in the postseason for the better part of the last decade, and now with a core of Cole Keith and Spencer Torkelson and Kerry Bonds, whose ex is going to talk about here in a second. You have a core of young players that you think you can build around and be a fixture in the AL Central for years to come.
Yeah, my hitter's crush, Kerry Bonds, Kerry Carpenter. No, I think I just started this team moving forward. He was a huge part of what you talked about, that run going into 2024, getting them to the postseason. I'm excited to see what he does for an encore this year.
Pretty impressive for a 19th round pick. That is
I was a 19th round pick,
success story. You were another success story. There you have. Let's take a look here at the pitching. It's time now to welcome in our good friend Trisha Whitaker live from Minnesota. Trisha, welcome, my friend. Let's start with the Tigers. We mentioned Kerry Carpenter earlier, but Detroit has to be thrilled with the hot start with former #1 overall draft pick Spencer Torkelson.
That's absolutely right, LG. A lot of things have, guys, it has certainly paid off to start the season for Spencer Torkelson.
I love the work ethic. I also love the transparency on the team side. For Minnesota, Royce Lewis was a top overall pick for the Twins back in the 2017 draft, but has battled injuries his entire career, as we all know. He's currently on the injured list, but you caught up with him earlier. Is he getting closer to return?
Hamstring injury during spring training, but listen, when Royce Lewis is back, look out for this lineup. if they can all get their ducks in a row and start hitting the way that we know they're capable of.
Yeah, that's a great point. Very dangerous lineup when everyone is healthy. Very encouraging news there for Twins fans. Trisha, thank you so much. We'll catch back up with you a little later on here in this segment as we take a look here.
5 home runs a couple of seasons ago. After the All-Star break last year, he ranked 3rd in on-base percentage amongst second basemen. So the ability to go out there and hit at the top of the order and give those guys that we were talking about in the middle of the order opportunities for him to be on base and drive him in, that's what you're looking for this Tigers team that looks to continue to have that offense and build off of last year.
Russ, I thought Trisha was great talking about Spencer Torkelson and the message AJ Hinch had for him. He wasn't even phased. He's another big piece of this lineup.
There was no guarantee that Spencer Torkelson was going to be on this roster in 2025. As we heard from Trisha, if he didn't come out and play the way he needs to play in spring training and in the first couple of weeks of the season, he's going to be in AAA Toledo. And you're seeing the #1 overall pick in the draft. That's the potential we're seeing right now. In college, when he was at Arizona State X, he was the best hitter in college. He had the most power in college, and that's why you say, we're taking him the #1 overall pick. And I think the thing that he got away from in the first couple of years in the big leagues, he wasn't a guy that swung and missed in college, right? You couldn't get him out in the strike zone. And when he got to the big leagues, you were starting to see that swing and miss. He wasn't walk to strikeout ratio, so he's commanding that strike zone. This is a big development for the Tigers.
It really is. And a much different game for the big three.
Well, I was about to say, it's not just him, right? You think about Royce Lewis and Carlos Correa, but this is one of the most exciting players in Major League Baseball. When he's healthy and on the field, he has impact with the bat, but also with the glove as well, and he brings a different energy. As a former player, I understand that guys build off of that energy that he brings. He's very emotional, and you need that sometimes for a team that's obviously got off to a rough start. They need to get going, and he might be the example as to why they can get going here if he picks it up and stays with it consistently on the offensive side.
Yeah, that's a really good point. He's not in the lineup tonight, but Harrison Bader has been. It's time to take a look at some of the most interesting stories from around the league on Apple News.
On the bases.
Do you think Paul Skeens will ever do an interview again?
No.
It feels like he's bad luck at this point.
Hopefully he does more for us.
I think that's what we'd love to see. 5-0 the score there at the top of the 5th. Correa hitting 3rd, playing short tonight. How about this, his 4th season with the Twins? But X, this is kind of shocking. He's hitting just 7 for 47, hitting a $149 this season, but that's not really a reflection of what he's doing at the plate.
I've noticed he's been hitting the ball hard, 15 hard hit outs. That's 3rd in Major League Baseball.
Wow.
Him and Ty France, both now you're starting to see a few of the hits falling. They've been smoking balls early this season. They'll be just fine.
Especially if he stays healthy. And they've been playing in some cold weather cities. They were in Chicago last week. It was cold and rainy when they were playing.
Yeah, looking for a clutch performance from Jeffers, and of course the pitching staff tonight should be a good one in Minnesota. Hopefully both teams can stay warm. We'll see some hot action at the plate. Enjoy Friday Night Baseball here on Apple TV+.
Standing by downstairs with Heidi Watney.
Ellie, you know, when your uniform is this dirty, you know you played the game hard. You were all over. The way you manufactured those runs in the 3rd inning. Take me through what's going through your mind when you're on the bases there.
Yeah, when I'm on the bases, I always think about the next one. And when I see, I take advantage and I just go.
You just said Candelario should be up here. He did get a big hit in the 1st inning. How nice to see the offense break out tonight.
Yeah, it was really good. Like I said, Candelario should be here because he hit a homer on the first one. He's the MVP tonight. But everybody played good. They take good ABs, like quality ABs, and I appreciate all that.
You made that nice over-the-shoulder catch. Look like a wide receiver out there. How much pride do you take in your defense?
Yeah, I like it. I love the fly ball, like running back. I love it. Yeah, I can be wide receiver.
All right, you guys took the last series against the Giants. You win here tonight. Do you think this team is finally hitting their stride?
Yeah, we hit it up. We're getting hot. We're gonna keep going.
Paul Skeens, when you got on base in the 3rd, Paul Skeens said you're never gonna double up Ellie. What does it mean to have that kind of praise from people all throughout the league?
Come on.
Paul Skeens dijo que cuando tú estás en primera es muy difícil hacer un doble play contigo. ¿Qué se siente decir eso?
Oh yeah, I feel good. Like I always run hard to the base to make them not do the double play.
Well, it's so much fun to watch you, Ellie. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
All right, Heidi, thank you very much. Ellie De La Cruz, another special night for him. Did it on the base paths, especially tonight, as the Reds scored 5 early, and they held on the rest of the way to a 5-3 win against the Pirates tonight.
Yeah, he's fun to watch. He's electric, and he understands. He's going to keep it simple, but he's going to be aggressive. So.
Welcome to the Friday Night Baseball pregame show here on Apple TV Plus, presented by BetMGM. We're getting you set for a double dip tonight. It's the Rogers Center in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, where J-Rod and the Mariners are in town to take on Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and the Jays. And then we'll head on down to Atlanta and Truist Park, where the Braves are hosting Byron Buxton and the Twins. As we say hello inside of our Apple TV Plus studios, Lauren Gardner alongside former big leaguer Xavier Scruggs, MLB National Insider for Yahoo Sports, Russell Dorsey. Russ, we were talking about this as the season was beginning, that Toronto, it was looking like maybe their window was closing, but not anymore.
Times have changed, LG. Just 3 weeks ago, we didn't know that dark cloud that was hanging over the city of Toronto is no more. You lock up Vladimir Guerrero Jays, and they're playing good baseball.
Yeah, it really is. So Blue Jays fans, to take a deep breath because things are looking up. Actually, other game here on Apple TV Plus, of course, is down in Atlanta between the Twins and the Braves. Two teams who are looking to turn
on their way, too, as I look at Ronald Acuna Jr. out of this lineup. That's a lot of energy. That's a lot of production when you talk about a guy at the top of the order, Russ. And I think they're missing that atmosphere a little bit, but there's no excuses, right? This is a team that we know that can be much better offensively, and I can expect to see that coming because those guys are underperforming the ones that have been really perennial great players.
Yeah, talk about underperformance prior to the season. For more on this matchup, we say hello to our good friend Trisha Whitaker. Trisha, let's start with Brian Wu, as the M's rotation has not lived up to the very high bar that they've set for themselves so far. They need some innings from Wu tonight. What are the Mariners saying about it?
Yeah, LG, they can certainly use some innings from Wu tonight, as the Mariners bullpen is a bit taxed as of late. They've covered 9 innings across his 3 starts on just 256 pitches. So he's been very, very efficient while giving them that depth that they have needed, and LG, the depth that they desperately, desperately need from him tonight.
Yeah, Trisha, this feels like it could be pivotal for this Mariners staff this evening. On the Toronto side, it's been a big week for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. His $500 million deal became official, and he hit his first home run on Wednesday. It seems like, Trisha, everything is turning up Vladdy.
Yeah, you know what's funny, LG, is I asked him, I said, which one was the bigger relief? Jokingly asked him that, breaking that home run drought and hitting a home run on Wednesday. Deal now with him. When he talks, everybody has to listen, and he has naturally stepped into that leadership role. LG, we also know that he has learned English fluently now. He does all of his interviews in English, and he has become that leader in the clubhouse. And John Schneider couldn't say enough about this, the player that he has become, because as we know, Schneider and Vlad go back quite a bit, and seeing this progression between the manager and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has been special for him.
Wow, 16 years old. That maturation must be so fun to witness. Trisha, thank you so much. We'll check back in later with you.
Production from their outfielders. That gets hurt when you don't have Ronald Acuna Jr., former MVP, but LG, they have a 483 OPS on the year from their outfielders. There are 6 teams in the big leagues right now that have a higher outfield slugging percentage than the Braves have OPS. So you need guys to really step up. Michael Harris II is an all-star. Hasn't played necessarily like the Michael Harris II that we've seen in years prior. Also, guys, they expected Jerkson Profar to be a big part of what they did in their outfield. He's obviously serving 80-game suspension for PED. So, yes, Ronald Acuna Jr. is necessary, but you don't want to put all that pressure on Ronald to come back and be the MVP that we've seen in years past.
Yeah, that is a lot of pressure, and I'm sure, even though you're saying you don't want to put it on him, I'm sure Braves fans are going to
like, Ronald, come back.
Yeah. So, exactly, there's a look at Carlos Correa.
Consistently, and one of the things I've noticed is he's been better with the breaking ball. You go back to 2022, in which he played for the Mariners, hitting it at a 292 clip. Now he's hitting at a 300 clip. So being able to sit back, have some relaxed at-bats, he's very calm with his approach. And you think about needing guys that need to be around Buxton, that need to be around Correa. Same thing when Royce Lewis comes back. They need to lengthen out that lineup. He's a big part of that. And maybe a bargain, only signed for $1 million this offseason. So hopefully he can give them more than what they looked for or expected.
Yeah, talking to Rocco Baldelli in spring training, we were talking about the health of the big 3, and everything seemed contingent on that. But it's like, yes, they need the depth, and Ty France.
Austin, you said after the tough start to the season, for the fans to stick with you. What gives you optimism in this group?
Well, I mean, you look at the guys that we have in this group. We've done it before. We know what we're capable of. They have high expectations of themselves. They're coming in, working every day, and we expect this thing to turn around at some point.
How much does the imminent return, I know Acuna's not going to be back for like another month, but how much does him coming back at some point give you guys hope?
You can't replace an MVP. I love playing with him. I've played with him for a while now, so I'm excited to get him back at some point.
You said after those first 2 series that you were kind of changing your mentality at the plate, hitting the ball in the air more. What changes did you make, and how did you kind of come to that conclusion?
Well, I think you evaluate yourself every day, and how can I get a 1% better every day, and for me it was just sticking with my plan. I think early on we were facing some really good pitching. I was trying to speed up to catch up with some velo and stuff like that, and where I just needed to stay within myself.
Thank you so much, Austin.
Yeah, thank you.
Back to you guys.
Appreciate you, Heidi.
You see that it was me you were searching for. You're searching for. Come back to me. Come back to me. I can remember the first time we ever met. The sun was shining, love was gleaming in the air. You caught my eye, and the next thing that I knew, I was in love. I was so in love with you. We were so close for a season of my life. I wanted so much to have you for my wife, but something changed. The season came to an end. I had to leave you, and that's where my heartache began. Heartache began. Come back to me. Springtime love is on my mind. Come back to me, baby. Share the way we can. I don't regret.
It's time to take a look at some of the most interesting stories from around the league on Apple News. Juan Soto has not gotten off to the start that he or the Queens faithful have really wanted, as the Mets' $765 million man has 3 homers through 19 games, including going 0 for 3 on Thursday night. The 26-year-old Soto says that his struggles are part of the game, and he knows how to handle it. Obviously, Soto's been the talk of the town lately. Let's talk about his quotes, though, that made headlines this week.
Yeah, some intriguing comments made from him that almost sounded adjustment and go out there and ball out like he's done all season, all the rest of his seasons.
Here's the thing, guys. He was right. He's not hitting behind Aaron Judge anymore. Teams are pitching to him differently because he's the Aaron Judge. He's the generational talent in the middle of that lineup. And Pete Alonso is having a great start to the season, so you imagine that's going to start to turn here. But there are ebbs and flows to a season. There are highs and lows to a season. And his are just exacerbated because he plays in New York. He went from the Yankees to the Mets. He got this big-time contract, and everybody's looking at him. They don't give you $765 million if you're a bum, right? Juan Soto, everything we've seen from him in his career says, I am no bum. Everybody, let's take a deep breath. Juan Soto's going to be fine.
What are you trying to say? New York media exaggerates things?
I'm not saying it, LG. You said it.
Yes, I think things will be fine in Queens, especially with Soto and his numbers at the plate. To get more news and highlights from around Major League Baseball, follow your team in the Apple News app. The border, all eyes are on Vlad Guerrero Jr., fresh off of his first homer in 2025. For more on Vladdy, let's send it on over to X.
Yeah, you guys know Vladdy is one of my favorite players, and one of the reasons why is because
Vladimir Guerrero Jr., you are a Blue Jay for 14 years. Can you tell me your first emotion when you realized that deal was done?
The first thing I just give it to God to glory, if it was not for him, I not would have been here, but I called my mom, my daughter, and they just started crying, and I start crying too, it's something I dream with this, and thank God happened.
Why was your daughter so happy? Is this because this is home to her and you? What was her reaction?
I think how how the people treat my family here, you know, and they feel kind of like his home, you know, and when you feel that, you have to stay when your family want to stay. And thank God they want to stay here, and me want to stay here, and we did it.
All right, what was a bigger relief? Signing that contract or breaking that home run drought on Wednesday?
I say both. Both, you know, everybody to me, I hit a home run, and the team and the fans want to see the home run, but, you know, for my contract, it's different, you know, I wanna be here and sign here for 14 years, you know, it's a good release.
What makes you believe that in 14 years with this organization that you love, that you can add to some of those banners that are hanging up there in the Rogers Center?
I just like every year is different, you know, every year we learn something new, and to me, I grew up with this organization, and I know they want to grow up with me, and we're going to grow up together. I think that's the key, you know, I believe in them, and they believe in me too, so we always come here to win some games, and I know in 14 years they're gonna bring some guys, they're gonna help me to win the World Series.
We love to hear that. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., we appreciate the time. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Guys, let's send it back to you.
Love that.
To me, if Bo Bichette is going right, and you see the average over 300, that looks like the guy we've seen. The power's gonna come. He's already leading the league with 8 doubles right now. You're starting to see a guy that looks confident again.
Yeah, I love that. And I look at on the Mariners side in our other game. Like this is a guy that Randy Arozarena, to me, has to bring that energy early on in the season. When you think about he's gotten it going at 866 OPS. I live in Tampa, so I got the opportunity to watch him do his thing with the Tampa Bay Rays. It's about getting this guy recognizing pitches early, because when he takes off, he does not stop. And that's my favorite thing right there, Russ. Stop at third base and put yourself up a jumper like I do against you in the court. That's
what we do, huh? We got a lot of people.
That's what I love seeing. So the energy from him, J-Rod, they need that tonight.
Yeah, they really do, and I love the story. By the way, can we just circle back to the City Connects for Toronto? Those things are looking sharp, and I love that they bust those things out on Friday night. An 8.5 total runs in this contest, all at a plus 775.
Coming up next, Cal Raleigh reached the 100 home run mark earlier this week, but when we return, we'll talk about the pitcher he's catching tonight. Well, we're just moments away from getting you out to Atlanta and Seattle for some game action. But first, let's talk about Bryan Woo. He's coming off a win against the Rangers on Saturday when he gave up just 1 run over 7 innings. And Russ has started 2024. How about this? Woo has a 2.89 ERA and ranks in the top 3 in WHIP and strike and walkout ratio.
He's another guy in that Seattle farm of aces. And he's usually the forgotten guy. And I think when you look at Bryan Woo and what he's kind of developed into, he's right along with Castillo and George Kirby and Logan Gilbert. I think the big thing always for Bryan Woo is staying on the field and staying on the bump every 5th day. Because when he's on the mound, he's really good. But he's had injuries pop up here and there. But if they're going to get this version of him, they're in a good spot.
The fastball is electric, to your point. He's a guy that throws it almost 70% of the time. I think fans should look out to see if the slider is landing early in this one, because Toronto's going to make an adjustment, right? They're going to look for that fastball, and they're going to be on it. Is he going to be able to locate the other stuff and have it in the zone to where he's getting the swing and miss, some of that chase, and being able to put guys away?
Ooh, that's a great early tell, especially with Bo Bichette leading off. This is going to be a very interesting, as we say, chess matchup, because at the end of the day, that's what this ends up being. Russ, what's on your radar tonight?
On my radar, we heard from him earlier with Heidi, Austin Riley, a guy that you get worried about
because he's one of the guys that makes everything go, along with Vladdy, along with you talking about Bo Bichette, Russ. I look for him to have a big game tonight and really take advantage of that switch hitting capability of hitting bombs on both sides of the plate.
Ooh, I'm glad that you brought him up. 30 seconds remaining in this show. Cal Raleigh on the other side. Russ, is he the best catcher in the game?
I think you can make the argument. Defensively, you're talking about platinum glove winner, just hit his 100th career homer. He's going to hit the ball of the ballpark, too.
I think he's in that conversation, a guy that does it on both sides, too, with the power. And also catching a good game, too, right?
Yeah.
Being able to man the behind home plate, to me, that's maybe more important than what he's done with the bat.
Yeah, that's not easy to do both. And I guess there is a reason you talked about Platinum Glover there, why his nickname is the Platinum Dumper. Enjoy the games, my friends. Inside of our Apple TV Plus studios, Lauren Gardner alongside former big leaguer Xavier Scruggs, and we are pleased to call from the bullpen three-time All-Star Dan Please.
Bringing the lefty in.
Gotta bring in the lefty every now and again. Russell Dorsey is on sideline duties out at Oracle Park, so that should be a lot of fun here. It might only be April, but guys, we're getting to watch two of the best teams in baseball. X.
Yeah. I want to start with the Giants too, because this team is these guys have hit for a long period of time. You have Seager out right now too. I also look at Adolis Garcia as one of those guys I expect to pick it up here.
Yeah, that team probably underperforming, but what I like about what both of these teams are doing is not laden with superstars. They're just putting it together with dudes, but two superstars right here. Dan pitching matchup features two guys with 4 World Series rings.
Velo's down. The breaking ball isn't quite as good. He'll be the last 300-game winner. If he wins 300 games, he'll be the last one to do it. He's trying to find himself. He's trying to find himself with that velocity.
I'm sure Giants fans would love to see that, but also Father Time undefeated. It's time now to welcome in our good friend and national MLB insider for Yahoo Sports, Russell Dorsey in San Francisco. Russ, you spoke with the man who played for Boch, current Giants president Buster Posey. We really do look forward to that interview a little bit later on in the show, but how would you say he's impacted the team since taking over his current position?
Well, production that they're having.
Yeah, I completely agree. It seems like balance is key here. On the other side of the matchup is the Texas Rangers, who, as X touched on a little bit earlier, are off to a hot start despite some offensive struggles.
Yeah, the offense isn't there, LG. And
Scary wants to get Seager back in the lineup. Thank you so much for the update. We look forward to hearing back from you later on in the show. Fellas, let's take a look here at the Giants lineup.
Talking about, he's a solid player.
Yeah, I love his at-bats because he goes so deep in the counts as well. I'm looking at, on the same side, looking at Willie Adames. He's a guy, to me, a slower starter. April, a 672 OPS. I expect that to get a lot better because he's a career 750 to be able to ease into that role and get back to being himself.
Yeah, we've all spent a lot of time around Willie Adames. I have no doubt that he'll get going. Remember, it's also cold in April, so not easy at the plate. Not trying to make up
Warm those hands up.
Exactly. Yeah, it's always cold at Oracle Park. Here's a look at the Rangers lineup.
Exit velos look good right now. He's just got to stay away from the chase, and he'll be all right.
I want you to remember the name, Wyatt Langford.
Locked.
He is about to become a superstar player. He forced his way onto this team. He's a former first-round pick in 2023 out of the University of Florida. Hit so well in spring training that he made the ball club last year in 2024, and he's starting to hit again. The power's starting to come. He's going to be a run producer. If the Rangers make it into the postseason, he will be a big reason why.
And Dan told us first. Well, I'm sure Wyatt Langford and his parents probably told everyone first. Let's go ahead and check back in with Russell Dorsey. It's time to take a look at some of the most interesting stories from around the league on Apple News. Just constantly doing things we've never seen before, but can he maintain this pace?
He's simply the best player in the game right now.
Yeah.
400, such a focus for him on getting better every single year. He's closed so many of the holes.
The consummate teammate, and he learned this in college, never to say I or me. So he doesn't really care about the individual accolades. It's all about Yankees getting the dub. To get more news and highlights from around Major League Baseball, follow your team in the Apple News app. Elliot Ramos entering Friday. No one in baseball had more doubles than Giants center fielder Jung-Hoo Lee. The 26-year-old is looking for a strong second season after losing a bulk of his rookie year to a shoulder injury. For more on the man they call the grandson of the wind, let's send it on over to X. I love the nickname.
It's a great nickname, and I got
President of Baseball Ops Buster Posey and asked him about the adjustment to his new role leading this club. It was great to sit down with a legend in those parts, and it looks like he did get to catch up with Boch. I'm sure that was quite the conversation. But Dan, you were just talking about that. It's so nice that he's not micromanaging these guys.
He's a former player, and he's letting his coaches, he's delegating the things that he doesn't know to his coaching staff, and they have a really good coaching staff. Pat Burrell, a longtime big leaguer, as their hitting instructor. Buster knows what he knows, and he allows people to do things that he doesn't know.
And I like the fact that Russ asked him about the perspective as a catcher and the detail. That detail aspect of it is going to feed off into everybody else that he's managing, but also those players out there on the field. They know what they're.
Yeah, they've completely changed this environment because last year things were not looking good for the Giants. They've made going to Oracle Ballpark the place to go again.
Yeah, exactly. Fans are excited. Again, he is a legend. There's a lot of pressure on him, but the way they're performing so far this season, it looks like he's living up to all of the expectations. For more on this matchup between the Rangers and the Giants, let's check in with the gentleman who'll be in the booth, and Wayne Randazzo and Dontrell Willis. 310. Like the value there. Coming up next, Nathan Eovaldi getting ready for first pitch out by the Bay. We're going to get into the starting pitching matchup and the interesting bullpen situation for the Giants after the break. It seems like we have the right guy in studio for this. Do you think there are some adjustments that need to happen for the 42-year-old?
And I think if you're watching the game tonight, you'll know early on. You want to see more swings and misses. The ball will be in play more off of Verlander now than it was 5 or 6 years ago. But I think what you want to watch if you're a Giants fan, a clean 1-2-3, first and second inning, let them settle in.
Yeah, and I think if you're a hitter, right, you have to be focused on seeing if that fastball is coming to play, right? That's been his bread and butter. You got slider, like you said, if he's able to get that swing and miss, get to early counts 0-2, get them quick, he's going to have the success today.
Everyone can just breathe a sigh of relief there at Oracle Park, or of course if you're watching here on Apple TV+. We know that JV is starting, but the question now is who might be closing at the beginning of the season. It was probably Ryan Walker.
That might present a problem.
And they do need Walker to get back to being himself, right? This is a guy that's had some...
Yeah, that's a good point. If they're going to go the distance like they have in the past, they're going to need that bullpen to be firing on all cylinders. Let's talk about the other starting pitcher, Nathan Eovaldi. We talked about combined each have 3 World Series, right? It's going to be a great starting pitching matchup. Dan, what have you seen from him so far this season, especially as he begins to age a little bit in this game?
He's a bulldog. Really, he's made his name in September and October. He's a veteran pitcher, signed back as a free agent with the Rangers. They're happy to have him. He can manage a game. He's reliable, dependable, dynamite, split finger when it's on.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun to watch, especially when he's firing on all cylinders. What's your X factor tonight?
X factor tonight, we have
a big night.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Again, we're in for a real treat as two of the best teams in Major League Baseball are going head-to-head in the Bay Area. That's going to do it for us here in our Apple TV Plus studios. Enjoy Friday Night Baseball presented by Chevrolet, who had a no decision against the Dodgers on Saturday. Time now to say hello to our good friend Trisha Whitaker. First, Trisha, we have to ask you about the weather in Pittsburgh. What can you tell us?
Yeah, I'm usually out on the field, LG, but right now I'm not because it is absolutely pouring. It just let up just slightly, but this game will start in a delay here in Pittsburgh. The rain is supposed to stop, I think, around 7:30. I'm not a qualified meteorologist, but I do have a weather app. So it is supposed to stop around then, so I do think that they will get this game in, but it will start in a delay because it absolutely started pouring. So it's going to take them a little bit, once it finally does stop, to clear off the tarp and get down to business. But LG, I think we'll have a game. It's just going to be a little bit later.
A+ weather report. We'll have our tap shoes on here in studio, and good to hear that there will be a game tonight in Pittsburgh. Speaking of that game, let's talk about the leadoff spot there for the Pirates. O'Neal Cruz, he's not only in his first full season playing center field, but also didn't start leading off until the 14th game of the season. But Trisha, he seems to be thriving.
Yeah, he is thriving in April. So they are pretty pleased with what O'Neal Cruz has been able to do in that leadoff spot. I asked Cruz about it before the game, and he said, listen, it doesn't matter to me if I'm in the leadoff spot or somewhere else in the lineup. My approach is the same. But LG, it certainly does seem to be working.
Yeah, Trish, you love to see that attitude with someone who has the talent that he possesses. On the Padres side of things, their leadoff hitter is having success of his own, Fernando Tatis Jr., off to an MVP pace so far here in 2025.
He absolutely is. He is also thriving in that leadoff spot. You'll love to see it as soon as he gets on base. I know he's stealing a bag, so I know I have more chances to get more RBIs when Fernando Tatis Jr. is hitting in that leadoff spot. So he is certainly comfortable, and he is thriving there, which is good news for the Padres because LG, in the midst of a little bit of a tough offensive stretch for them, Tatis has continued to shine at the plate.
I love what you said there. Luis Urias, a consummate teammate. Trisha, thank you so much. We'll check back in with you a little later on in the show as we look at the Padres lineup. You see Fernando Tatis Jr. there in the leadoff spot. We're going to hear Trisha's interview with him in just a bit, and we'll also watch X break him down later. He's clearly the star of the show, and for a good reason. But Russ, he's playing MVP caliber baseball right now.
He is, and if he continues to play the way he's playing right now, he will be the 2025 National League MVP. The power, more runs for the Padres, which usually leads to more wins, X.
And they're going to get more wins when Manny Machado continues to produce for himself, right? He's a guy that a lot of the expected numbers look good. He's hitting balls hard, a lot of exit velo, but now it's about more of those balls starting to fall in because you think about Fernando Tatis, as you mentioned, taking more walks. They're going to pitch around him at times. Luis Urias has to come through. Manny Machado has to come through more consistently. And when guys are on base, this is an RBI producer. He's someone that takes advantage of guys guys in scoring position. I would keep your eyes on him having a much better season going into May now that it's starting to heat up there.
I was about to say, just like Juan Soto in the Big Apple with Manny Machado, it seems like it's only a matter of time. If you're doing all the things right, 14 games, let's send it back over to Trisha Whitaker, who earlier had a chance to catch up with him.
All right, O'Neal Cruz, let's talk that leadoff spot first and foremost. We talked to Shelty about it. He said that he feels like it's a spark for this offense when you are in that leadoff spot. How do you feel there?
It's no difference for me. Hitting leadoff or anywhere in the lineup. If I'm playing, I'm good. If I'm in the lineup, I'm good. But I feel pretty good there, pretty comfortable, and then, just go out there and do my thing every day.
All right, let's talk that switch from shortstop to center field. You made a heck of a play yesterday, too. We know that happened last season, but how are you feeling there?
So far, so good, and excited because every day I learn something new thanks to the work that I've been putting out here with our outfield guy, the T-Brock. And, I feel comfortable every day. It's a matter of, going out there and playing every day just to get better at it.
Somebody else on the other side made that switch too, Fernando Tatis Jr. Did you pick his brain at all about some advice?
I haven't picked his brain yet, but today's the day. He had a really good plays in right field, and he won the Gold Glove, and he done a lot of good things in the outfield and right field. And I think this is the time for me this is the series for me to at least pick his brain a little bit.
We'll watch you take notes. Thank you so much for the time.
Thank you.
Guys, let's send it back to you.
Appreciate you, Trisha. We'll have one day. Wilcox won the MVP award for Pittsburgh back in 2013. It's time to take a look at some of the most interesting stories from around the league on Apple News. So Russ goes as far as asking if they are the best team. I love this in the American League. So Russ, this team legit in your mind? Is this the biggest takeaway, too, from this first part of the season?
It's one of my biggest takeaways. Guy out of nowhere, one of the leaders in OPS in Major League Baseball. They've gotten a lot of production up and down their lineup, even though that's not necessarily their strength, but that starting rotation, that bullpen, they didn't have the easiest schedule in the month of April, yet one of the best teams in the American League.
Yeah, Russ, another surprise to me has been a team that we had on Apple last Friday.
Oh, wow, that's a big statement, especially in what is arguably the toughest division in baseball. Compelling argument as well on the AL side. We'll see how that all shakes out, especially as the NL is dominating here early on in the season. To get more news and highlights from around Major League Baseball, follow your team in the Apple News app. Scary moment on Wednesday at PNC Park. During the 7th inning of the game, a fan fell from the right field seats onto the field of play. He was transported to Allegheny General Hospital. Pirates chairman Bob Nutting released the following statement. "We are deeply saddened and truly heartbroken after the terrible accident that occurred Wednesday night. It was one of the most difficult moments many of us have ever experienced. We are devastated. Pirates baseball is a community and our fans are like family. In times like these, we must come together, support one another, and keep him and his loved ones in our prayers. We also want to thank and appreciate the efforts of the first responders who rushed to his attention and provided him with compassionate care."
The Friday Night Baseball pregame show on Apple TV Plus is presented by BetMGM. Sign up and bet with the king of sportsbooks today.
Fernando Tatis Jr. is one of the most exciting players in baseball. He's a two-time All-Star, has 2 Silver Sluggers, and a Platinum Glove to his name. For more on the 26-year-old leadoff man, let's send it on over to X. Game, though, for now, let's head back over to Trisha Whitaker, who earlier caught up with Fernando.
All right, Fernando Tatis Jr., let's talk this team right now. We know that you guys have been in the midst of a little bit of a tough stretch, but you started the season so hot and still only 1 loss behind the Dodgers. What's the makeup of this team, and what is this team capable of when you have health on your side?
Yeah, I feel health is the first thing, but then we had a really good, solid ball club. A bunch of boys coming together, knowing what we're good at doing and putting on the field, and man, we're just coming together as a team, as an offense, defense, and playing good baseball right now, but it could get better at the long run.
Your manager, I just spoke with him. He said you thrive in that leadoff spot. Why? Why? What gives you the capability?
I like creating chaos on the start of the game. I feel like, I can be responsible of doing almost everything on the field. So I take a lot of pride on that and started the game hot and just trying to be on base for the boys.
You opened your stance. You got rid of the leg kick this season. Tell me about that. What went into that?
The game is a little bit quicker with the clock. Pitchers taking
care of the base runners. So we got to make small adjustments. I'm not saying it won't come back because I'm a really field guy. Depends how I'm feeling, what I'm feeling at the time. But right now I'm just trying to stay short to the ball. Yeah, stay consistent.
All right, we got to talk to you a little bit about a guy on the other side of things. He's going through a transition that you went through from shortstop to center field. O'Neal Cruz. What do you see from him? Because you know what he told us? He said he was going to pick your brain during this series for some advice.
Man, he definitely has the talent and the ability to do it. It's a matter of fact, you just put in the work out there, dedication, a lot of shagging. No secret, just a lot of shagging and seeing the ball at the bat. Center field's a little bit more complicated because you got everything right in front of you with a bunch of angles, but I would love to talk defense with him, but he has all the talent in the world and I wish him nothing but the best, and he's a great baseball player.
Last thing for you, your manager also told us, he said that freak athleticism that Tatis has been on display specifically recently. How much pride do you take in that? It goes without saying, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's part of myself, of who I am as a human being. I've always been a little bit extreme, a little bit too much sometimes. But I like putting that in display in the game, showing what I'm capable of, and you know, just putting a little bit of extra out there for the show.
Fernando Tatis Jr., we appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Guys, let's send it back to you.
Great interview. Love end of May. So X, is this a good sign for Dylan Cease going into tonight's game?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, it's an opportunity for him to go out there and really command the strike zone. That's the biggest thing with him. When he's throwing strikes, he's able to be unhittable at times. Billy talked about success. Russ, I also like, just in general, this whole rotation and bullpen, right?
The baseball, but Robert Suarez at the back end, ever since they got him, has been different facets of the game.
Especially down the stretch, you know that's what these teams will need, especially come October. Okay, X, what's your X factor in this game?
Well, we talked a lot about Fernando Tatis Jr. and Manny Machado, but there's a guy in between success.
Luis Ariz is so phenomenal, and speaking of radar, I feel like he kind of flies under the radar, which leads us to Russell's radar.
That's gonna be Xander Bogaerts for me. And I have to be that 900 OPS guy, but if he can be a guy that is an 800 OPS, hitting with some power, playing good defense, that's what they need.
That's all they need, and I think O'Neal Cruz is what the Pirates need tonight. This game will start in a delay. Enjoy Friday Night Baseball on Apple TV+. But all bets will be off once we get underway at first pitch as we say hello inside of our Apple TV Plus studios. Lauren Gardner alongside former big leaguer Xavier Scruggs, National MLB insider Russell Dorsey. And guys, before we get into this game, we want to check in on Dylan Cease, who's getting ready for a start of that Padres and Pirates game out at PNC Park. But in the meantime, let's get back to the Cubs and the Brewers. Russ, you're obviously no stranger to the Windy City. That's where you're from. You cover the teams both on the north and the south side. In your opinion, are the Cubs back?
The Cubs are back, LG. You have a team that a fan base can be proud of. And Cubs fans have been in my mentions for a long time, LG. Like, Russ, we need a good baseball team. Well, you got one, Chicago. The Cubs are good.
This offense that you mentioned makes me want to run and grab a bat and start hitting with all of those guys because that much better. And it really elevates everybody's game. Seiya Suzuki has been amazing as well. We talk about Pete Crow Armstrong, PCA, doing his thing. But also, I look at everybody in that lineup is contributing in a different way. And it's not just with the bat. Good base running and excellent.
Yeah, the Cubs back in the driver's seat in this division, of course, taking on the Milwaukee Brewers, who just last year won that division. So we'll see how fun this matchup will be. For more on this one, let's say hello to our good friend Heidi Watney, who is in Milwaukee currently. Heidi, welcome, my friend. You're going to update us on this pitching matchup. We know it's Ben Brown for the Cubs, but the Brewers are going with an opener. What are you hearing about Tyler Alexander?
Yeah, Quinn Priester was supposed to be the starter for the Brew Crew tonight. Tyler Alexander was penciled in there this afternoon. He is going to serve as the opener for the game. Pat Murphy said he'll go one.
Max was just talking about this. The Cubs offense has been the top in baseball so far this season. One surprise has been, of course, the production from their catchers. What can you tell us about this pair?
Yeah, the Cubs catching tandem of Miguel Amaya and Carson has been the best in baseball this season. I asked Craig Counsell about it, and he couldn't be happier. Amaya is known more as a deep May, so he's basically hitting his way into splitting time with Amaya, who has been the Cubs catcher of the future. Cubs catchers, they've combined for the most RBI of all catchers in MLB this season. Council's happy with what he's getting back there, and it's Carson Kelly in there tonight.
I'll say I'd be happy too, and a great player to emulate in Barry Bonds. Heidi, thank you. We'll check back in with you a little later on here in the break.
Pete Crow Armstrong is one of them to create so much havoc. I actually asked Craig Counsell about this earlier in the week. When he allows every guy in that Cubs lineup to do their thing, whether it's Michael Busch.
I'm glad you mentioned the base running aspect, because both of these teams run the bases well.
Let's check back in with Heidi Watney, who earlier had a chance to catch up with the 2018 NL MVP, Christian Yelich.
Christian, I've got to start with the back. Obviously, back surgery ended your season last year. How are you feeling? How was your off-season different with recovering from the surgery and preparing for the season?
It was all good. You know, just had to do my rehab and stuff like that, but I'm feeling pretty good now.
You seem to be locked in over the last couple of weeks, hitting better. What's been the difference for you?
Just getting in the flow of the season. I think it's still early, you know, it's a month in, and we got a long way to go, so just trying to be consistent and happy to be out there and feeling healthy. So, yeah, all good things.
Is there anything you've changed with your swing to stay healthy and keep that consistency?
No, just feeling good with after, you know, doing rehab, getting some of the back stuff behind me. And, you know, after that, it's been all good.
What's it like playing for Pat Murphy?
It's unique, I think, but it's a lot of fun. You know, it's just he's got a different way of going about things, but I think it's effective and it fits our team really well since we're so young. You know, just really, you know, preaches accountability and attention to detail and doing things the right way, and while also teaching guys what it's like and what's expected of you as a major leaguer and what you have to do to stay here. And you know, he's going to teach those lessons whether you like it or not, and I think players, you're better off for it in the long run. You know, it's a little bit of tough love at time, but it's also a lot of fun. You know, and he's a great guy. I really like Murph, and we've always had a great relationship for 8 years, and glad to see him getting his chance.
Yeah, I was going to say tough love. That might be what a team that's going through so much adversity and so much turmoil and so many injuries needs at this point for this season.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a ton. I mean, it's no more adversity than anybody else faces, I think, during the course of a season. Like, it's part of it. You know, it's such a long year that you're going to have ups and downs. You're going to have times where you're battling through injuries and things aren't going your way, but it's just part of it. And you got to keep going. You got to do your best during those times to just try to, you know, stay in the mix, and then hopefully you get healthy and you're able to make a run and start playing better.
Great, thanks, Christian.
You got it. Thank you.
Thanks, you guys.
All right, Christian Yelich ready to get things going.
He's had, and why he's gotten the biggest payday in Brewers history, it's because of that consistency. But I also look at, and I like that they showed those numbers of his last 14 games, because there's been something that's changed for him. He's
another big part of it. And the back, I know he's tired of answering questions about it, but when he's healthy, he can use that, when he has that back healthy, getting that torque to lift the baseball and hit it out of the yard, because somebody has to be the one to produce power, and they expect it to be him.
Yeah, and this is tough. I mean, you can understand why he kind of has the tone that he has. Milwaukee returns home after losing 6 of 10 on that season-long road trip against Giants, Cardinals, and the White Sox. But it's kind of nice you have that in the rear view at this by BetMGM. Kyle Tucker getting set for action in Milwaukee, 3-time All-Star. Joined the Cubs this offseason and is, of course, set to be a free agent at the end of the year. For more on the 3-time All-Star, let's check in with X.
And we talked about it, right?
PCA, can I call you that? Because that's what everybody calls you. So I can call you PCA?
Yes, you got all the room to call me PCA.
All right, you are one of the fastest guys in the league, stolen base leader. Defensively, your manager said that he thinks you're the best defender in the game. Do you think baseball is valuing speed more than they used to?
That's a good question. I don't know about more than they used to. I think now that we're seeing so many more home runs, I don't know what my argument would necessarily be on that, but I just remember growing up watching guys like Juan Pierre and Rafael Furcal when he was a Dodger, and really seeing the importance of like playing the game as a whole. And I think that's what this year's Cubbies team's been doing so far to start. So we definitely value it. There's a whole lot of value in speed, but being able to put it all together is hugely important.
Yeah, you can make wreak some havoc on the bases for sure, and in the outfield. Your team, you mentioned it, Cubs are off to a great start. You're leading the charge. What's been the difference for you in this breakout season?
I mean, I really tried keeping things kind of as similar to last year as possible in terms of my routine and how I go about things, but I just simplified a lot of stuff at the plate this year. I think as a result, I'm seeing the ball really well, and I'm still, having a little bit of up and down as the year goes on, but I think it makes it easier when Kyle Tucker's hitting in front of me, when as of the last 2 games, when Dansby's hitting behind me. I think we're just really good top to bottom, so it makes it an easy at bat most of the time, and I'm just glad that I'm off to the start that I'm on and being able to contribute.
I thought you didn't grow up a Cubs fan. Your dad's a big Cubs fan.
Yes, he got me on the bandwagon when I was 10 or 11, and he gave me an ultimatum basically saying that, because he paid attention to the whole rebuild and everything, and he just said that they're going to be good in the next few years, so you better jump on now, and if you don't, then I'm not letting you on. So I jumped, and we've been there, 15 years later, so.
Thanks, Pete. PCA, thank you so much. Keep killing it.
Thank you. Will do.
It's time to take a look at some of the most interesting stories from around the league on Apple News.
No pass in Major League Baseball. They've gotten a lot of production up and down their lineup, even though that's not necessarily their strength, but that starting rotation, that bullpen, they didn't have the easiest schedule in the month of April, yet one of the best teams in the American League.
Yeah, Russ, another surprise to me has been a team that we had on Apple last Friday, but also like what this pitching staff has done too, both the starting rotation and the bullpen, making this team a complete team and maybe the best in the West.
Oh, wow, that's a big statement, especially in what is arguably the toughest division in baseball. Compelling argument as well on the AL side. We'll see how that all shakes out, especially as the NL is dominating here early on in the season. To get more news and highlights from around Major League Baseball, follow your team in the Apple News app. There's a look at Pete Crow Armstrong. It's the hat. The hat's really working for me. The glove, his style is totally on point. For more on the Cubs and the Brewers, let's check in with the gentleman who will be in the booth tonight, Wayne Randazzo and Dontrell Willis. 75. Well, Wave, how cute is this? If you're ready for first pitch in Milwaukee, we'll get you out there for the game after the break. Hey, buddy, that's quite the souvenir. Welcome back to Friday Night Baseball pregame show here presented by BetMGM. I mean, you gotta love a man of the people here as we approach first pitch in this divisional matchup in Milwaukee. Let's break down the NL Central pecking order. Russ, you live in Chicago. Do the Cubs kind of run the division now?
I think so. I think when you look at what they were able to do in the month of April, the teams that they played, they basically played the entire NL West and thrived. And I think when you look at the way their offense is played, they could use that farm system to go and get whatever they need at the deadline. The Cubs look to be that team to beat.
All right, X, what is your factor going into this game?
Oh, my X factor for today, I'm looking at Pete Crow Armstrong.
Ruskins is such a solid pick. Should be a great divisional matchup here on Friday Night Baseball here on Apple TV+. Enjoy the game, my friends. And by the way, we're presented by Chevrolet.